Hello, New Day. My name's Kari Levang. For those of you who don't know me, I'm so excited to be a part of this community of people that is sharing our heart around some of the things that God is teaching us as we're entering into Advent, this season of watchfulness and waiting with hope and expectancy. And as I've been doing that, I've been studying the book of Genesis, and one of the stories has really stood out to me, and it's the story of Abraham and Sarah. Now, many of you are familiar with this story. If you're not familiar with it, I would encourage you to go back to Genesis, the very beginning, where God shares all those first things about what he's like and what we're like because of him, and what he's going to be doing throughout the course of history. It's so good. But the thing that stood out to me in this story especially was the fact that God had made a promise to them in Genesis chapter 12, and it was 25 years before that promise came to fruition. And so I was thinking about that middle space for them. Now, scripture has a lot to tell us about what it looked like for them in many ways, and they took things into their own hands, and there are some really big twists and turns that I would encourage you to go back to. But I was thinking for us, what it has looked like for us to live in this space between, because it feels a lot like that. Now, hopefully we're not in a 25-year waiting period like they were. We're coming to the end of 1 year, though, where we've been watchful and waiting and hoping and all those things. And I can't help but think, we've all heard that term, love came down, when we think of Christmas. But I've been thinking, it's just been rolling around in my mind, this phrase, love also lives in the middle. And I like that, because that is what Emmanuel, God with us, is all about. We serve and we follow a God who is in the middle. He's the Alpha and he's the Omega, and he's also in the space in between. So as I've been sitting in this space of watchfulness, this space of expectancy, of waiting for the Christ child to come, and asking God to teach me and to show me new things about the middle, about what it means to be a child of his, a follower of the way of Jesus, I've thought so much, he's brought me back to time and time again, that there are things in the waiting, gifts that we can only receive in this place. I think what we have a tendency to do is to look ahead and to keep our eyes only on the gift, whether that's healing for somebody, whether that's deliverance for God's people, whether it's whatever it is, you fill in the blank for your own life. But we have a tendency to look out and beyond rather than to keep ourselves rooted and grounded in today, this day. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and I will be glad in it. I will ask God to help me stay seated and grounded in what he has for me today. And that's what I've been doing. So as I think about God's promises for my life, the things that I've asked God for that have taken some time, and the things that I'm still waiting on God for, I can do so with a sense of longing and expectancy, along with a hopefulness and a joy in the waiting, because I can know that there are things that God has in store for me this day as I lean in, as I slow down and take time to enter into his presence, to enter into the Prince of Peace for today. And you know what? It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a hard thing to stay in the place. But rather than jump past this gift that God has given me for today, I've really been working hard at staying present, remaining grounded in what love has for me right in this middle place. We can all agree that God's timeline is different than ours, and often we get really frustrated by it. But again, what if it's this waiting where the gift is found? God is never late. He's always on time, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm also grateful that this place of waiting where it feels out of control, we can enter in and we can know that we serve and love a God who is in control, who is holding all things together right now. Even when it feels like things are falling apart, we can press into the truth of what he says, that he's holding all things together. Nothing escapes his eye. And we can do that with a watchfulness and a waiting, because God is with us today. Our invitation is to enter in. So my prayer is that you will slow down enough, get alone with Jesus, so that we can gather together by the Spirit of God that lives within each one of us, with expectancy and hope for what God will do. Romans 12:12 says, "Be joyful in hope, be patient in affliction, and be faithful in prayer." So friends, that's my prayer, that we will enter in together with joyfulness, with patience, and with deep, deep prayer and longing for what God will do. Merry Christmas, friends, and I'm eager for what 2021 is going to bring for us.